for lack of a fancier way of putting it, fancier medical way of putting it, our brain can rattle around a little bit inside of our skull. There's some tiny, as we get older, there's more room for the brain to rattle.
Mine's not a lot of rooms old as I am.
No, but if we do have some atrophy, there's a little bit more room for the brain to rattle. There's some tiny veins that go from the surface of the brain to the skull. We call them bridging veins. And if you get going fast enough and hit your head, if you fall and you get going fast enough and you stop real quick, your brain may not stop. It can rattle around inside your skull.
She fell out there, oh my.
Okay, Mom, let's listen to the doctor, not go off on business.
And if you fall hard enough, you can tear one of those little veins and bleed around the outside of your brain. They're veins, they're not an artery. They bleed slowly if they're going to keep bleeding. There's a layer of ligament that lines the inside of our skull. And it's called the tough mother in Latin. Its name is the dura mater. Most times we call it just the dura. And it kind of makes a sac that our brain floats in. So if you tear one of those little bridging veins, you bleed on top of the brain, but under that layer of dura.
Well, I had a,
Okay, Mom, let's let the doctor.
okay.
And you get a below the dura pocket of blood, or a subdural hematoma. SUBDURAL. And these are the most common things that we see here in the ICU. I probably see at least one new person every day that has a new one of these. Any questions so far? Bleeding around the brain isn't good. Just how bad is it? My first question anytime somebody has bleeding around the brain like this is, has the bleeding imminently stopped? Because you only have so much room inside of your skull. The way we answer that question is we get two pictures at 2 points in time. And so we did a picture of your subdural hematoma yesterday when you first came in to the hospital. And we did another one later on, and I compare, and I don't see any more bleeding. That's good. The bleeding is around the right side of your brain. And at its thickest point, it's about 4 millimeters thick, so not quite half a centimeter, just underneath this. When subdural hematomas are over a centimeter, they will typically grow over days to weeks. And the normal kind of story is, I saw that Mom something's wrong. She's not walking right. Something's different. And they sneak up on people a couple months later.
My balance has been off for 2 or 3 months.
It has been.
Could she have done this before yesterday morning and it just,
I don't think so.
okay, because she's felt a couple of times recently and it's,
The blood is really fresh
Okay.
on our skin. That's why if it's a few days old, I could date it. I could date this, but I think it was this fall that did this
Okay.
time. If this bleeding is under a centimeter, which yours is, this can go away on its own. To get rid of the blood, if it's thin and spread out over the surface of the brain, would require making a pretty big window in your skull, which is a nice way of saying taking off a large piece of skull. And then taking a toothbrush and polishing, we wouldn't do that. But to get rid of a lot of blood, you'd have to tear a lot of bridging veins. That surgery is really no benefit right now, and a lot of risk. And that's why we're not interested in doing it. Number one, that blood too, fresh blood is like clot, like jello, and it's hard to get out. And if it's a thin rim over the entire surface of the brain, that's hard to deal with. What we like to do is watch these, as we know, if we know they're not going to imminently get bigger, we like to wait a couple weeks and get a scan 3 or 4 weeks down the road, make sure this is going away, or if it is getting bigger, maybe we need to watch it again and get another scan in the future. But we like to make sure that it's stable here and now, that we can watch this going forward and then go from there. I think that this is going to go away on its own with time. If if you ask me how much I would bet $2 and not much more than that, if that makes sense. As if you ask like level of certainty, it's not super high. These can kind of do anything and everything. I've seen people with very small ones that got very pesky later. I've seen people with small ones that disappear in them. I never know who's gonna be who. I don't want you to be on your aspirin for the next week.
Well, I've never took aspirin when I was growing up at Boston.
Okay.
And I had to go to the orthopedist, and I've been taking ibuprofen.
Okay. Ibuprofen is fine.
Yeah, and, he said, take a big aspirin overnight, so I wouldn't get a blood clot in this leg. And,
Mom, you just started taking the low doses aspirin when you fractured your foot, didn't you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What
when I
bone
fractured
did you
my
break
foot.
in your foot? Did you still have the boot?
It's over here.
I was reading about it here. Okay.
It's the little toe, around the little toe.
Yeah.
One of the long bones here. I didn't
It was
know.
on.
Here. Okay.
I was standing there in a door.
Okay.
I tell you, I've never done a trick like that. We had added to it a little elevation, and that foot was all the way over. And it hurt so bad. Yeah, I couldn't walk without hollering on that foot. And my son, he come over that day, and he said, I'm taking you to the hospital. And he brought me to Kernersville, because, it was handier than coming all the way over here. To the emergency room, they x-rayed it, said I had fractured the bone there.
Okay.
And I went back, when was it? When did I go back? I tell people
It
this, and
was
it's
either last week, I think it was last week or the week before, because you got another appointment on December, like, 11th or 12th or something.
That's when he told you to wear the boot for a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
And, they, down there at the orthopedist,
Okay.
that's where I went, they, put me on that boot. No, they put me on a big bracket, and then, when I went back, they put me on that.
That short
We
one.
had told them the black one, you couldn't wear it, it was uncomfortable, so they put you on the other one.
And, he said, when I went back last week, they said I had to wear it. Said it was okay, they x-rayed it again, but I had to wear it about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks longer. And, I have neuropathy,
And you're on some Lyrica for it too.
and,
It's due to something called monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined
progabalin is
significance.
what I take, it's lyric.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We're gonna restart it here. We're restarting it here.
On what you say.
We're gonna make sure that you get it here.
And, I have to take 2 capsules a day of
Okay.
that. And it's 50 milligrams.
I saw.
And Jeff,
Yeah, there's a mess up with that.
I heard 25 3 times a day.
When she went to the
I haven't
neurologist,
taken those.
he was gonna raise the dose.
Okay.
Now, her, primary care physician is the one she goes back to because she has to go back every month since it's controlled.
Okay.
And he had her on 2 50 mg tablets a day. But when she went back to the neurologist, he said he's gonna raise hers and she's gonna have to take 3 pills a day.
25 3 times a day is less than 50 twice a
I
day.
know, that's why we're confused, and my brother was the one that took her to the doctor. So he's called both doctors, and we're trying to figure out what she needs to take. 'Cause when he said 3,
Pills, you think it's more?
so we're not sure how that goes, we're all confused about that. And then I think Mike called the neurologist, and he said that since she went to a primary care doctor and they both have prescribed it, the primary care doctor was the one that's gonna keep up with it, but we haven't heard what she's supposed to take.
Okay. I can do 50 twice a day if that's what we're about, and it's a higher dose. It sounds like.
Now Jeff, I think he takes a higher dose.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to be taking more than 100, because if you're taking 250s a day and he was gonna raise it, but we don't understand why he prescribed the 25 mg since she was taking 50, and he
Well,
said
I
he's
told
gonna
him
do
that I
them.
was taking 50 twice a day, and he said, take I couldn't understand it, but I think he said take 225 and a 50, you know. But I didn't, I took my 50. I haven't taken the 25, I still got him, I think,
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
right-handed.
Are you having any trouble moving anything?
My fingers stay so numb, I can't hardly pick a pen up.
She's
Okay.
got
And I
carpal
can't wear my
tunnel.
ring, my wedding bands, of course, my husband's passed away.
Mhm.
I can't get over my knuckles.
Okay.
But these,
Is it any more weak than usual?
they stay cold all the time.
Try and squeeze. I bet they're not as cold as mine.
No.
I'm washing a lot. Okay. Tap your fingers like this so that you can't. Hold your hands straight out in front of you with your thumbs out. Close your eyes for me. Okay, you can open your eyes. How is the feeling in your arms?
Well, my arms, now the last couple of days they have felt very weak in my legs too.
The
But they
sensation
did
of the feeling of touch. If you touch it, can you feel it when people touch you? Can you
Yeah,
feel
I
it?
can feel their touch.
Okay. How about in your legs? How's the feeling in your legs?
I can feel them.
Where does the neuropathy kind of start at?
She talks about her toes tingling all the
Okay.
time.
This one tingles about every day.
Okay.
And, it's up to here,
Okay.
I've had a problem. I put a sore band on it,
Okay.
and, there's down, and that's it, that's all I know to tell you.
Okay.
And,
She has got a lot of arthritis, and
oh, we all have
something
that.
about the sciatic nerve, didn't something show up about that?
I imagine
She's,
all that's
what's,
in the
what's Jeff got that,
spinal stenosis.
yeah, that's what I was
My
trying to
dad
think
had said
of.
they didn't wanna operate.
In your
I'm
lower
86
back, I saw.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
86, they did not wanna operate, and I can understand that.
Watch my pen for me, just with your eyes. Say, here for me. Stick your tongue here for me. Okay. Look right at my nose here. Where did your lenses go? The lenses in your eyes? I'm betting you had cataract surgery in the past.
Yeah.
I've had cataract surgery.
They took the lenses out and they put new ones in. Let me listen to you. Do you take eye drops, sir?
Uh-huh.
Both eyes?
The African and,
Do you take, you put it in both eyes, Mama?
hmm?
You
Both
put them in
eyes?
both eyes?
Gosh, yes.
Gotcha.
I take African, here, I've got a,
Oh, I've got it too. I've ordered it because I saw your last medications you filled at the last pharmacy. But sometimes people fill them and aren't taking them, or something else happens. That's why I
I
asked.
take African twice a day, and it was on Lumadone, and they put me on that
Lanapros.
Lanapros.
I'll make sure you get it here too.
Once
I'll
a
make
day.
sure you get it here too. I've got it. I'll make sure you get it here too. I've got it.
Make sure you get it.
And I aim to call them in, and I come down here, and I haven't called them in, now I'm out.
Gotcha.
Did her falling affect her eyes in any way?
No. I want to let you get out of the ICU today. I have two kind of milestones for somebody to go home after, and it takes a good hit to the head to do it, like Mike Tyson hit at you to do this. My first milestone is I know the bleeding has stopped imminently, and I know that one we've met. The second thing I want is to make sure people are okay when they get up and walk. After a good hit to the head, sometimes people are a bit punch drunk, and a great way, like, you cannot have another fall here in the next couple days, you can't, because this will bleed
I
more.
haven't got my hearing aids in. I can't-
I'll speak up, I'm sorry. You, there's two milestones for going home. Number one is making sure that the bleeding has stopped
Yes.
imminently here, and that we've done. I think there's gonna be another picture 3 or 4 weeks down the road here. Number two, I wanna make sure that people can get up and walk and do okay. And this is the one that usually gets people. Sometimes after a good hit to the head like this, they're a bit punch drunk when they try and get up, or they feel
Well, I
okay.
use a walker,
You do?
yes. And I have it with me, but Mike said you're not supposed to bring it to the emergency.
We'll get one here.
He's probably got it in his truck, I don't know.
we'll get up, sometimes people get up and they say, well, I'm woozy, I'm lightheaded,
Yes,
a
I've
great
been that
way.
way for 2 weeks and
So what's going on?
I don't
A
know.
great way to have more bleeding is of a fall in the next couple days. I wanna make sure that we're getting up. Okay.
She does have sinus issues, and then she's got allergies.
Okay.
look on the
What about
computer,
this-
I got a lot of
She's
allergies
very
and all.
wobbly.
Huh?
Why? I've heard it's gotten worse recently. She said you're very wobbly.
And I take it slow at home, I do a little something and I sit down.
And
I get up and do something else and I sit back down.
Okay.
I do.
Let us try and get up here too and see how it goes. Sometimes after a good head hit, people stand up and they say, whoa, my blood pressure is very low. I want to make sure, I cannot put you on a couch at home and say, good luck, hope you can walk. That doesn't go well. I want to make sure that you can get up and around too, but I'm okay with you getting out of the ICU here.
Can I go home?
I don't know is the answer. You can go home and stay home. I want to make sure that you can get up and walk and do stuff. I would guess another day here. We will get a walker, we'll have a physical therapist get up and around, we'll look at blood pressure and
You
go
want me
from
to
there.
have my son to bring the walker?
We've got one here.
4 wheels.
I'm sure we've got all kinds here.
Yeah, they had one this morning that I used, but it wasn't.
yeah, Mom, I don't know, you might need to work on the two-wheel ones for a while, cause the
Well, see,
four-wheel
you
ones
did.
can get
I'm
later
nervous
on,
for
yes.
somebody. For somebody that's walking isn't perfect at baseline, maybe going home, I usually say 2 days for a hit to it takes a bad hit. I don't think going home today sounds like a good idea. Maybe tomorrow if we're up and around here.
Okay,
But
that's-
I gotta set you up for success. If you're really falling in, then we're
Which
looking at
one's my
surgery.
boot?
Then
Where's it at?
She fell either Friday or Saturday, and then she fell Monday, and we're worried about her falling again, especially since she's by herself. And
And I don't know whether I hit the stove or the refrigerator or the floor.
maybe all of the above.
Well,
She's
the
got us-
problem is, I was out there probably 4 weeks ago, cause I go visit her every Tuesday and spend the day with her, and we were both in the kitchen, and, she's stubborn, she don't want my help, she wants to do it herself, cause I'm company, and, I was doing something at the refrigerator, and the way her kitchen is the counter, and lots of times she'll use the counter instead of a walker.
Okay.
And I had my back to her, and she's got the cement, well, not cement, but
she's
the
got ceramic tile floor.
And all of a sudden, well, I'm in the floor, and I mean, I didn't hear her hit. I didn't. She has the medical alert. It didn't go off. And then she talks about her legs are wobbly, and she feels like they're gonna give out on her. So I don't know if her legs are just giving out and she's going down gently or what. 'Cause I don't think her medical alert's ever went off when she's fallen, has it?
I don't know,
She
Cynthia.
set it off when she gets in the car with a seatbelt, but
We'll see. Let's see. We'll get up and walk here with the physical therapist and see how it goes.
Getting up and walking helps a whole lot. If I don't, if I'm careful and not sit back down.
and I mean, it happened so fast. Like I said, I had my back to her, but I didn't hear her. And
I don't,
I was out there, and Kathy fell on the floor the other week. And you heard
I fell in
her.
August. I mean, I hit hard. I'm bigger too, but I hit my head, and when I took my hand back, it was covered in blood. But I laid there till the EMTs got there because I said I didn't want to get up and be dizzy and pass out. I was fine once they got me up. I rode my motorcycle home. I was
you know,
fine.
to go to the hospital. There's one of my sons.
Howdy.
Hey, I talked to you on the
Yes,
phone
sir.
yesterday, I
So he was Scott Cicito here. He's another physician.
believe. Okay, all right.
Okay.
He
Let
wants
us
to keep
let us
her
get out of the
another day.
ICU here. We'll get up and around and see how it goes. Or maybe it's not gonna go. Maybe you need another day in the hospital. Maybe you say, whoa, my blood pressure becomes half of what it normally is when I try and stand up. It's normal after concussion. Let's see and go from there.
Okay.
When do I get out of here?
Let
That's
me
what he
see,
was
I don't know
telling.
if this makes
Mhm.
any difference. She's on the diuretic, which is to help the blood pressure.
I've restarted it here.
Okay. when
That's
she's
already
going
not
off,
gonna
she
get
won't
Mrs.
take
Leo.
it because she make her have to.
Cause there's so much I can't
Okay.
take.
Mama.
Is that gonna mess up things? If she doesn't take it every day and she's,
I don't know, I think if you're okay, kind of taking it as kind of you need to, okay.
When I'm going to church or somewhere, I don't take it, cause if I can't make
Yeah.
it in the car to the bathroom,
I
I
understand.
wet myself.
I understand,
Uh,
I understand.
yes, and I don't,
It sounds like if that works for you, then so be it.
okay, so that wouldn't,
now.
blood pressure wouldn't make it or something, make it fall.
I don't think so, we'll sort this out here with objective numbers.
You think it's all right if I don't take it today?
I don't know, I'll see, it sounds like if you're missing days and you're doing okay,
I went
Then
to
okay.
school with him one time, I never been so embarrassed in my life.
It happens to everybody.
I hate to tell you how often it happens to me.
Yes.
In the restroom in front, I'd wait till I got up there. It poured out of me there, right in the store.
Okay.
And that's when I stopped taking it if I'm going somewhere like that, because when I get home,
I
same
understand.
day, okay.
They told him to start taking a baby aspirin. Not doing that regularly.
We're
She's
gonna
all
not
set.
take it because the bleeding inside of the head here.
Okay, all right. I want to be sure of that.
Hmm.
So. Okay.
And they're gonna check about the other stuff that we're confused about, whether she needs to take 350s or what.
Yeah.
Pam, I would say nice to meet you here, I wish it was under a different set of circumstances
Well, I
then.
do too.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else I can tell you
Now,
guys?
when do you think I can go home?
I wanna see how you get up and around, if you're doing well getting up and around, maybe tomorrow. If you're not doing well, I need to see if you're woozy when you get up. It may be one day, it might be 3 days, I don't know, but whenever you're not gonna imminently fall again.
What about her being by herself at home?
I'm an ICU physician. I leave this up to you guys.
Okay.
So,
I know they said something about a caseworker, will they talk to us, or how does that work?
we have caseworkers here, but I'm not sure why they would be involved here. If you were looking at going somewhere else other than home, they would be involved, but I
Well,
haven't
know
heard that
Dr.
being
Charles
discussed.
suggested one time, some people like me or, Geneva, they have someone to come out
Mhm.
and clean up their house and do that every other week. They don't want to do that.
And my dad doesn't really affect
That
us.
I can see, but
Mom and Dad doesn't affect what we're talking about now.
That's
We're talking about
nothing to
whether
do
it's
with him.
safe for you to
We'll
be
worry
at
about that
home.
when you get home, okay?
He's working to getting you out of ICU, even if he has to put you in a different room here for another day, just to be sure.
You see how many bosses I've got?
And she don't
I'm
listen
cutting
to
up.
us.
Goodness sakes.
guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Like she instantly has stopped,
All right.
but the way they talked about it, she's a little blood vessels, some of them have burst, and there's still some there. And it gets, hopefully it'll get smaller.